A very warm welcome to our viewers to the Outlook Money webinar series. This is part of the Investor Education and Awareness Initiative of Aditya Birla Sunlife Mutual Fund in association with Outlook Money. I am Nidhi Sinha, editor Outlook Money, and today our topic of discussion is the importance of money management on the occasion of World Financial Planning Day. So to give you a brief, this day is celebrated on the first Wednesday of October every year to create awareness about the importance of financial planning. The day provides an opportunity to educate investors about the many facets of financial planning. And with the festive season kicking off already, it is important to throw light on the importance of money management for individual consumers as well as investors. So our experts on the panel are adequately, they are really experts in this field of financial planning, and they will steer you into the right direction. So let me first introduce them to you. I would like to welcome Mr. K.S. Rao, who's Head of Investor Education and Distribution Development at Aditya Birla Sunlife AMC. And Mr. Rao's top priority is to take financial literacy and investor education to various demographic segments across geographies. He spent about 2 decades in the mutual funds industry. We also have with us Mr. Lobai Navlakhi, founder and CEO of International Money Matters Private Limited. With close to 4 decades of experience, Mr. Navlakhi has made a difference in the lives of countless people with his valuable financial advice. He was among the first batch of CFPs in India and his vast industry knowledge. Last but not the least, Mr. Harsh Rungta, a personal finance and tax expert who writes for various media organizations very regularly. He is the founder, director of ARIA. He's been part of the retail lending industry for a long time and also has penned a book on home loans. So welcome to the webinar series, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's start this very pertinent discussion on financial planning, which every retail individual investor or saver should undertake, because it is something that can sort out a person's life, not just the finances. So starting with Mr. Rao, what do you think financial planning, what kind of role does it play in an investor's life?
Yeah. Good morning, Nidhi, and good morning, Lobai sir and Harsh sir. Thanks for having me here, and it's always be a pleasure and honor to be among the elite community here. And incidentally, today's topic, Harshji and Lovaiji are the most relevant people because of not only they are the earliest financial planners in the country, but they are an authority on the financial planning. And of course, as you rightly put it, every year when we celebrate this International Financial Planning Day, that is the day at least it reminds us, every one of us who have started where we are going, those who have not started, how to start quickly. And probably this community of financial planners and community of people practicing financial planning should go. This tribe has to grow bigger and better. And incidentally, this is also a Vijayadashmi day. And I think I can put it another way: Happy Dashera and Happy Financial Planning Day. And financial planning, what it can give to us, probably most of us we are little afraid, or we will go away the moment the term financial and planning is concerned, because the various reasons we never want to plan is like, one, we feel it is very complicated. Second, once you plan, you are abide by actions, then we don't want to get into the action, then we can get away from it. And the third is sometimes when we go to our financial planners, the financial planning, the document which they give it to us is something around 17-18 pages, and we feel lost where to start. And sometimes the Excel sheets looks at, oh, this is not my cup of tea, let me live the way I live, and then I'll never start it. Either way, this is the way financial planning happens. But let me tell you, financial planning provides a direction to us. And those who start acting on the financial planning, it gives a direction. And each of us have our own goals and our own dreams. And if you are just putting a plan, you are making those goals come real, and those dreams are becoming real, and goals are becoming your part of the life. And it helps us to understand better how I can manage my own money, and whatever how to move forward to the future goals, and where I can look forward to. And financial planning gives someone a perspective of the budget. As long as I am not budgeting, then I don't know where I am spending. While ago, as you are mentioning, this is a time of festival and investing and spending takes over the investing. But if I know I am a planner, I mean, if I planned well, and then I know how much to spend and how much not to spend. And the Great Indian Festival happens every month, and how we can avoid. I think if yesterday I have seen on WhatsApp message, what says is like there are two great festivals are happening, Great Indian Festival, and there is some other some other festival on the shopping side, e-commerce side. And
Right.
if you want to save more, it is better to delete both the apps and you will be more comfortable. And that is I think financial planning gives you that discretion of delayed gratification and saying no what you don't need, and probably saying yes what you need for the future. And it makes your future to come to the present. I mean, I can just sum it up. It provides you the peace of mind.
Right. Financial planning can provide you peace of mind, like Mr. Rao said. But a lot of people, like he said, are still, they are scared of those Excels that financial planners would make them fill the due diligence that happens before you start on a plan. And they perhaps find it easier to find financial advice elsewhere because, financial advice is everywhere these days. It's on social media platforms with the proliferation of influencers. There are so many tips and tricks that are available on these platforms. So Mr. Lovai, coming to you, how does an individual investor or saver cut through this clutter, which is there's so much noise on financial advice happening everywhere, and find genuine advice? And what is the role that really genuine advice can play?
Yeah, so those are two very important questions that you're asking. And I think that just like finance, which is, affects everybody day in and day out, I think another comparable sort of area would be health. And if you really were unwell, or you had some sort of symptoms which required you to figure out, okay, what's the best way of treating yourself? And it's happening to you for the first time. So I think the question that you are asking about finding the financial planner, financial advisor is for people who are wanting to do it for the first time. So when something like this happens to your health, what do? You don't just go to the first neighborhood doctor that you can find. You might do your own Google search and say, okay, let me find who are the options. You might ask your uncle, you might ask your parents, you might ask a colleague. And then based on that, you might shortlist. And invariably, you want to speak to that doctor before you decide that, yes, this is the person I need to move with. So first and foremost, we know that the doctor is qualified. Similarly, in financial advice, there is a qualification required for you to provide, better type of delivery of your service. So you could look for a certified financial planner. You could look for a registered investment advisor. Um, and I don't need to teach people to how to Google and find such people. So they will
Right.
find them. But after you find them, then you try and filter to somebody who is going to meet your requirements. Just because your colleague has a great equation with X financial advisor doesn't mean that it might work for you. Yeah, it might, go through the filters, and therefore you feel more comfortable evaluating such a person. But I think spend time doing your due diligence before you pick that financial advisor. But yes, CFP and an RIA are two qualifications that I would sort of pay attention to. The importance of financial advice is very far reaching, and people who have actually used financial advice have found that benefit, and it goes beyond just numbers. I know that you are speaking a lot about Excel sheets, but I think Excel sheet is a small portion of what the financial advisor does. So one is to identify that this is the quantum of money needed for a particular goal, or this is your priority. So don't delete that app as Mr. Rao was suggesting. But beyond that, it is handholding. Beyond that, there are other questions that you might find as you move forward in life that you want answered. And invariably, you want to talk to someone who's trusted, who is yet independent, who's going to give you unbiased advice. And that invariably ends up becoming your financial advisor, particularly if you have managed to develop a relationship. So the earlier you start with a financial advisor, the stronger your relationship will be over time. And as we know in everything else, the relationship gets just tested through the ups and downs and situations. And that's the same thing you need to provide the time to your financial advisor. And, the advice that you get will help you to take very difficult decisions in your life, or whenever you are at crossroads. Should I take A type of job or Y type? Should the salary be X or Y? Should I, what is the impact if I move from one location to another? Should I send my child to a college in US, UK, or Singapore, or no, I have to manage only India? I think a whole bunch of questions that you get answered through good financial advice.
Absolutely agree. Even I believe very strongly that, your life kind of gets sorted once you are into a financial planning exercise, because there are so many things that are interconnected and that need to be sorted out in terms of your affordability, your choices about life, that kind of helps you fixes those particular goals and chart your own course in life. So, but you were also talking about, when you go for these recommendations, you often, often people rely on their, say, relatives or friends, etc., to find a financial advisor. So, now we know that, SEBI has a whole list of registered financial advisors, and we, keep disseminating that information wherever possible in whichever stories. But still, a lot of people, they rely on friends and family both. And a lot of them then end up with distributors or agents, and when you ask them, they will actually call them financial advisors. So coming to you, Mr. Rumta, how does one, for a very lay person, how does one differentiate between, a distributor or agent and a financial planner in terms of suitability and other things that we have been discussing?
So, first two things. One, I think one would not discount the role of friends and families, because one, they could, they bring something to the equation, which is trust, right? And the fact that they have no axe to grind. They have no interest in sort of telling you to do something or not doing something. So to that much extent, they come with an advantage. I think the issue for you to recognize is that they may not be the best source. So I think for a potential investor, I think the key is to recognize the limitation of the channel. Family, friends, it's valuable because some of them would have dealt with the some advisors and would therefore the rubbed off trust is a great starting point. It's not necessary, as Lovi said, that they could be good, but it's a great starting point. But as long as the investor recognizes that there is a limit to what the friend or family can tell, I think that is one great thing. I think the second thing is that what is your expectation from the advice? I think if you're clear as to what you expect from an advice, I think you will reach the right professional. And let me just explain that. If your expectation is that, okay, please tell me what is a good share to invest in, what is a good mutual fund scheme to invest in, okay, then the chances are that you are going to, you may reach anybody, you may reach an advisor, you may reach a distributor, and if that is what you need, either of them probably would do a good job. But if what you need is a comprehensive view of what your existing resources are, what are they going to be used for, when, what is the priority if the resources are not enough, what is your risk profile, can you sort of afford to spend today even though, these are difficult questions, right? You need to take that holiday today, but you also need to make sure that, you are investing enough for your own retirement or, your in children's education.
Right.
These are difficult questions to answer. And if your expectation is to get a roadmap on or a framework on how to answer these questions, I think in the mind of the investor, that is what he or she is looking for. I think they will reach a SEBI registered investment advisor simply because they are the only people uh, who are qualified to who have been trained and qualified to offer that sort of advice, and who are by regulation allowed to offer that kind of advice.
Right. So we've been talking about how to, kind of reach the right person. But another thing that, we often experience while talking to people for our stories and interacting with people otherwise is that, a lot of people have this misconception that until and unless I have a lot of money, I can't really get into financial planning. So that is also something that kind of stops them. But just to open the discussion further, do you think is that true, Mr. Rao?
Thanks, Nidhi. Very interesting piece. And this I come across in various meets too. Financial planning is not for me. Even earlier, it was mutual funds are not for me. It is
Right.
not for the common man. And all of us used to think. And it is thinking is like it's somebody who is wealthy. They need to plan. Probably somebody who is very wealthy. It's they plan for their wealth management. That can be still again broadly come under financial plan. But financial plan is for everyone to start with. In fact, when I have small, I need to do it right because. I'm from here, I am moving somewhere else. I'm getting my future into action now. For example, if somebody is joining into a career and he or she gets a financial plan right, or she is getting a retirement plan to right, means 30 year hence she is planning it right. She is bringing that into the prospect to it. The moment you have that plan, you are conscious and you're conscious about all your budgets. I mean, it's your income, and it is like I put it like an anecdote. For example, if I am taking a flight, I mean, if my baggage limit is 15 kgs, I need to plan more meticulously. If I am taking my car, my boot space is enough. I don't need to plan that much till I can dump it. Means when you have a lesser money, more better to plan. It will help you to plan much better because you are living not for today, but you are living for your future, and this planning will make you right. And you are doing a financial plan and you are making your finances to come. I mean, probably it is also an auspicious occasion of Dashera. I can say this is a time when you think, when you plan, you are already visualizing in your mind my future retirement. This is the corpus I am creating it. This is my golden age plan. Means you are laying down the path to your golden age at this point of time. Probably it is for everyone, and one you need to choose a financial planner as early as possible. I have seen, I mean, I keep working with many of our friends like Lavai sir and Harsh sir, and I have seen these youngsters. I mean, this is at International Money Matters, which started for those young employees, and they will do their financial planning. In those days, it used to be a small fee. They don't need to work with them, but they can just take a plan and go. And I have seen some of these corporate executives today. They are typically a millionaires and trillionaires with those small plans which they started, and it all that makes a difference.
While we are discussing that, people have different ideas about financial planning, something that, they need so much money to start financial planning. There are others, especially the retired, who may think that, it's too late for them to go into a financial plan. On the other hand, if we look at it objectively, they are the ones who may have the larger corpus because, they would be sitting with the nest egg or the corpus, retirement corpus that they may have got from their companies or their savings. So what are your views on this, Mr. Loy?
So that's a great question because I think that today, when you look around, you will see people living for pretty long periods of time. I think each one of us will probably have experienced some family member or somebody close that who are, living in their 90s, maybe in their late 80s. And that is not something that at least I was used to when we were growing up. that people would live for much lesser time after they stopped working. So first and foremost, one has to recognize that in retirement, that retirement period is going to be long. Sometimes it could be as long as your working period, sometimes even longer, which means that your money has to work for you for that long, period of time. So I don't think that it's a bad time to start. In fact, we find that many of our, retired clients are the ones who are more willing to invest for longer term, are more willing to possibly take what we term as risk and invest in equity, because they know that most of their financial and family goals have actually got met. And now they need to make sure that this money lasts them. Now we are currently going through a period where interest rates are lower than inflation. In many of the traditional forms, if I was to put money in a fixed deposit, I'm actually losing money. And at times like this, obviously the impact is felt the most by people who've retired, because they don't have additional money to add at that point, right? They have the existing corpus and that has to run. So I think people do recognize that for that rainy day, which is maybe happening right now, they needed to have created something which is generating that little extra return, which can possibly come through only an asset class like equity, because their money has to last for a long period of time. And if I want to put it very simply, during retired life, you want maybe three things to be taken care of. One, I want to have enough money for enjoyment. So regular day-to-day and enjoyment. So if I have to go on a trip, if I want money to, gift my family members, I shouldn't be dependent and say, oh, I don't have the money and I can't do this. The second thing I need to provide for is emergencies, which is, things like medical, or I have a family member who suddenly requires money. I put that both in the same bucket, that I want some money for that sort of time. And the third thing, which sometimes people don't pay too much attention to, I think the attention has now increased, is to figure out how to transfer those assets and to make it smooth for my family members to get that amounts after I am not there. So whether it is, creating a will or a trust, or even deciding that, okay, during my lifetime itself, here is some amount that I can keep passing on. So I can get the satisfaction of watching them enjoy whatever I'm giving at the time when they need it, or not. They shouldn't be waiting for me. Oh, when is this guy going to die? Because after he dies, I'm going to get this amount. So I think that those are a few things that you need to take care. And therefore, I don't think when you retire and you've got that nest egg, as you said, that's not too late to get an advisor. It's just the only reason why it may be late is because when you're getting a large sum of money, you want somebody whom you can trust with that money. And at that stage, you have the money, but you don't have the relationship and you have to build it up fresh. Those are areas where, as they say, suddenly a lot of friends and relatives turn up and say, I'm your relative also, since you've got some money. So that you have to be careful of.
Right. Yeah. So there can be challenges, of course, if you don't address it earlier. Like you said, that it is very important to build that trust and relationship with the financial planner. So the earlier you start, it is better. And another thing that comes up often, and I guess some of the advisors also kind of offer that kind of thing, is that, you come one time, you get a one-time financial plan, say over a period of a few advisory sessions and all. But do you think that that may not be the right approach, and financial planning is more a lifelong process? And how important it is to continue with the financial plan and not just, go to an advisor once and see, okay, I can invest here and here, and then go ahead with the other things. So Mr. Rungta, my question is for you.
So I think that's an extremely important thing that you have raised. I mean, personally, I think that, financial planning is not a one-time thing, because life is not one time. Life keeps on, evolving. And as life evolves, you need this person besides you whom you trust to be able to provide you counsel. Ultimately, action has to be taken by the person herself, but the investment advisor can provide counsel. So I think this needs to be a lifelong relationship, ideally. Okay. Secondly, at least we have seen in our practices, I mean, people start off with a lot of enthusiasm before sometimes inertia catches up. A lot of things have changed during COVID. I think people are now far more serious. And I think, as they say, COVID made us look life in our faces. And, we all became very aware of the kind of risks we run. And therefore, I think the benefits of a planned life are something that clients are experiencing. Having, I think, said that, our realization is that as and when it happens that, the people are not guided at the stage of execution, the chance that they will fall off is very high. It's like, again, I will take the example of health because it's the easiest to relate to. So, you go to a trainer and, you sort of chart out a plan with the trainer, and the trainer will sort of give you a couple of days, demonstration, and you do that, and then you are supposed to do it at home on your own, right? That does not recognize two things. You may there might be changes in your requirements, that you might fall ill, or you might actually start doing better, in which case now you need other kinds of exercise. That's one part, for a continuing relationship. The second part of the continuing relationship is, without that trainer there to sort of egg you on, okay, the chance that you will fall back into your old routine, life takes over, as they say. Inertia takes over. Right. So I think this needs to be an ongoing relationship, and it needs to be something that will evolve over the time. That's what I believe. But if you don't want to do that, even having a financial plan at least tells you what you are supposed to do and what you are missing. Okay, so to that limited extent, I think even getting a financial plan is a good thing. But as I said, it's not enough. In fact, it's a very small part. The initial financial plan is a very small part of your financial life journey over your life.
Right. So the sense we are getting is that, financial planning is this holistic thing that, kind of needs to take everything into account, from your needs to your job, your life decisions, your decisions about your children, your own retirement, etc. So when we're talking about families and everything, a lot of time we see that, the spouses may not want to participate so much in the financial part of the household, though a lot of things are changing on that aspect also. So, Mr. Rao, how important do you think it is for families to get involved in this overall financial planning process? And by families, I also means maybe grown-up kids, and imparting them the sense of how important this is for your life.
Yeah, maybe yes. I think it's the most important part I look at, because financial planning is not the one person in the family is doing. It's all entire family, because all of us together we are moving into that prosperity. And I mean, it's a financial planning is like laying path for your future, and your future is you are traveling together with your own people. And if all of them are not aligned, then that plan will not go here. It will go haywire. First part. And there are two parts I look at. One, for your planning, why you need to involve is to all of us together align to those goals, and it's a family financial well-being. That's the first part to look at. And second part, why we need to involve families. I remember one article during COVID time, Harsh sir has written, this article about family financial conversations. some complicated conversations. The conversation is like, if I am not there tomorrow, what will happen to my money and how we need to. And that is the second part is also equally important, because we are seldom discuss that. We are afraid that we should not discuss, because that is not palatable one for anyone, and it looks little unpleasant. But we can make that as a conversation part. Then family conversations can become much more better, and everyone is aware of what they are doing. It means it is if family conversations, family involving family both sides at the planning time and as you are executing, and it's going to be an ongoing journey, and everyone will have their own responsibilities to work for it. Sometimes there could be one member who is planning and one member is earning, but sometimes both of them are earning. Then complications can be a little different, and we all will be in a transparent way. We can have those communication right. And family financial conversations involving family in the financial planning, as a process, it really enhances the quality of the family life. And in terms of the finances, they will far more, they score more. And I personally feel controversies in the future also will come much lesser than what otherwise it can happen. And of course, I keep seeing our friends on the financial planning community. And nowadays, every quarterly review, they do involve the spouse to come and understand what's happening. And lot of changes have happened from the past to now. And I think that is the way to go.
Okay, so this was a very interesting and informative discussion, and it's gone in various directions when it comes to financial planning. So wrapping up, and this is a question to all of you, is that if I want to sum it up for our viewers, what are the top things that one should keep in mind when entering a financial plan, or not just entering, when you are into a financial plan and going ahead with it? So we can start with Mr. Lobai.
I think first and foremost that you have to remember is that the financial plan, like we have said, is like a blueprint or a guide, but it's not your life. So while that exercise that you do at one point in time to identify your goals, where you need to invest, the asset allocation, etc., is done, we have to remember that life happens, and then these things need to get modified. So the ability to have the conversation with the financial planner, so that your situations, as you come across them, what are the changes that you need to make? Somebody who's there to handhold you, to encourage you, to push you to do, actually go ahead with your goals, saying, don't worry, there is a safety net. You can quit your job and start what you really wanted to start, etc. Those are things that the financial plan gives to you. So it's well beyond an Excel sheet and numbers. It is really a long-term relationship with what I would call a trusted partner that you are getting into. And if you go in thinking of it from that standpoint, rather than, let me evaluate how this planner is doing every quarter or every, few months or every year or so, I think you will have a wonderful experience.
Right. Mr. Rungta?
So, just slightly, because I think Loai has put it so succinctly, I just want to highlight one thing. I think there is a general perception that, financial planners will always tell you to, delay gratification. Okay. Actually, delayed gratification has great benefits, and, provided those benefits are sort of made clear. But there also is, I would say, a concept of a guilt-free immediate gratification. Okay. And I'll just give an example. When you're planning a journey to various places, okay, it's a long journey, and, you want to complete it as quickly as possible, given your resources that are available, given the type of driver that you are, etc. And yet on the way, you see these interesting detours and you wish, oh, I wish I could take them. Now, that I think is, if you compare these various destinations to the goals and resources, to what resources you have, your driving speed or driving ability to risk profile, etc. When you work with a planner, what that planner can help you do is take those detours guilt-free and enjoy them. So you have to enjoy the journey as much as you will reach the destination. And during that journey, as I say, you need to stop to smell the roses. You will enjoy doing that, provided you have a clear plan and a reasonable probability that you will reach those goals that you have set for yourself. That will enable you to enjoy whatever it is that gives you enjoyment, whether it is buying something, whether it is going on a holiday. And I think being able to do that, all our clients have something called Enjoy Life Goal. And I think we encourage clients to fund that goal, even as their other goals are not met, because obviously after all goals are met, they will fund the Enjoy Life Goal. I think it is for the planner to work with the client so that they can enjoy life as it is happening and not wait for them to reach the destination, because that perfect moment may never come. And by that time, your capability to enjoy may reduce. So I think that's just one more facet of financial planning that people should know about.
It was very well said, Harsh. In fact, I want to just add one thing, Nidhi. It
Please.
almost feels like, for the goal from reaching from destination A to B, you need 6 hours. So you leave 6 hours before and you'll reach. And what Harsh is suggesting is, no, we will push you to leave 6.5 hours early, so that either of two things will happen. You will actually see the roses and you can stop and smell them, or you will take less risk because you're not in that tearing hurry. Oh, I'll be late, so let me take
Right.
a little extra speed. So I think it's beautifully said.
Yeah. So even for our viewers, financial planning is not just about, skimping your expenses. It is about enjoying the journey and the final outcome and the goals. So that was a very, very interesting discussion. And the last word to Mr. Rao, your takeaways on for the viewers.
I don't want to add anything much than what last Harsh and Lois sir has summed it up, because if life is a journey, financial planning is also a journey, and all that what you need to do is the joy of living is a way of living. And I keep telling always, life is LIFE, that is living in financial empowerment. And to put it in a three of you here, I can say, Lois sir, I always use his first words that, loving all. I mean, if you want to love your life, you need to understand harsh realities, and that can create a wealth for you that is an easy for you. This is where a financial planning journey.
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen. This has been a lovely discussion, and I hope our readers will benefit from the insights that we have discussed today. And thanks a lot. Good day to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks. It's very interesting.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.